What's up, students? My name is Spencer. Have you ever noticed that when we make decisions, we usually choose the option we think is going to make our life better? For example, when I have to choose between Pepsi and Coke, I don't choose any because I choose diet because I think it's way better. And so when I have to choose between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes, I choose Chick-fil-A because I know it's better and it's gonna make my life better. See, in most scenarios where we have to make decisions, we usually are gonna go for the option that we think is gonna make our life better. And so no matter where we're at in life, I think we always want things that will make it better. Maybe you want to ask her out. Maybe you feel like it would make life better. Maybe you want to break up with him because you feel like that would make your life better. Maybe you want to hang out with your friends because you feel like that would make life better. The question we often ask when making decisions is this: will this make my life better or worse? You see, this is a great question, by the way. Since you and I only have one life, it only makes sense that we're gonna want to get the most out of it. It makes the most sense that everything we do or want to do is based on whether we're making our lives better or worse. And for many of us, when it comes to church and our faith, we wonder, is this gonna make things better or worse? Is it gonna be fun? Will I be happier? Is it worth it? Will it make my life better? We don't necessarily ask out loud because it seems kind of weird. But if you really think about it, that question has probably crossed your mind before. After all, there are people who talk about faith in God like it makes their life way better. They use words like life-changing. Maybe you've heard someone tell their story of how they started following Jesus and their life changed in a really, really good way. Stories like that are great. But if you're anything like me, maybe you found yourself wondering, is that really possible? How can following a guy who lived 2,000 years ago do all of that? Or does faith in God make your life really better? If you're asking questions like these, I want you to know that they're not bad or wrong. In fact, questions like these are what this series is about. We've been talking about the idea of a prism. And if you look at it one way, it's kind of ordinary. But when you shine a light on it or change the angle, you see something that you've never seen before. We've also been talking about how Jesus is a lot like that. When we take a closer look at who Jesus really is, there is always more to discover, and we can see things that we have never seen before. So if you've ever wondered if following Jesus can really make your life better, you're not alone. In fact, for thousands of years, people have wondered what God is really like and whether following God is good or bad for their life. In fact, one of the reasons Jesus came to earth was to give us a better picture of what God is like. Then, when he showed up, what he taught and how he lived was different than anyone expected. In his teachings, Jesus often used illustrations that were part of everyday life back then. And because people were very familiar with shepherds doing that at the time, one of those illustrations was about sheep and their shepherd. It was a concept that everybody would get. It would be like you and I hearing about a mailman or a car mechanic. Shepherds took care of and protected their sheep all the time. It was their job to make sure their sheep were safe and in good shape. And in this particular teaching, Jesus refers to himself as the good shepherd and us as his sheep. He takes care of us, moves us where we need to go, and helps us rest in safety. It was a nice little word picture. Then, right in the middle of his teaching, Jesus makes a huge statement. He says this: "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." Now to me, this really feels random. We were just talking about sheep. And sure, back then thieves were a problem. It was a real thing that someone might steal or hurt your sheep. But Jesus is talking about himself as the good shepherd. How is a thief even part of this conversation? You see, Jesus continues, and it gets even more interesting. He goes on to say, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." Jesus is making a point here. He's showing the difference between him and a thief. You see, a thief shows up to steal, kill, and destroy, but Jesus shows up to offer full life. Jesus is saying, you know what a thief is like, and that's not me, fam. And honestly, it makes sense why Jesus would say that. The truth is, often we don't see Jesus as the good shepherd. Instead, we're tempted to see him more as the thief. We think Jesus is all about stealing our fun. We think that following Jesus will kill our relationships. We think that following Jesus will destroy our personality and turn us into a religious robot. We think that if we follow Jesus, our future will be stolen, killed, and destroyed. We have to give up on all of our dreams, give away everything we really want, and live a boring life. The point is this: when it comes to Jesus, We're all tempted to think he wants to take something away from us. Maybe that's why Jesus brought this up. He knew his followers would think something about him that wasn't true. So he takes a moment to make sure his audience has the right idea about who he truly is. Jesus is saying, I didn't show up to take away your life. That's what a thief does, and I'm no thief. I've shown up to make sure you have life. Not just any life, but in his words, he wants to give us life to the full. Jesus' goal isn't for us to have less of life. He wants to give us more life and a better life. And that's so different than what many of us think. Because somewhere along the way, maybe in church or maybe on social media, we got the idea that God wants to take anything we want and anything that will make our lives good. And that's actually not true. Now, when Jesus said he came to give us life to the full, that doesn't mean he'll always give us everything that we want, or that we'll never be hurt again and never face any tough situation or tough times. But it does mean that we can trust that by following Jesus, he will lead us towards more of what we really want in life. And here's 4 things that you might not realize that following Jesus can actually lead us towards. Number 1 is more fun. Maybe you've never thought of it this way, but did you know that God invented fun? God created the part of your brain that lights up when you're having a great time with your friends. Happiness and enjoyment were God's design. Jesus didn't come to take away our opportunities to have a good time. Instead, he says, let me show you a way that brings more, bigger joy that doesn't fall apart just because you had one bad day. A joy that's bigger than just the moment. The goal was never less fun. It was always more. Number 2, great relationships. The truth is we all want solid, real friendships. Following Jesus can make you better at finding those kinds of friends and being that kind of friend. God invented friendship and community. Ultimately, Jesus wants you to find more of the right kind of people and have better relationships with them. God created us for connection. Number 3 is your personality. This is a huge one. Somewhere we got the idea that Jesus wants to take away our personality and make us less interesting. But you see, the actual opposite is true. Jesus wants to use the ways we're different, including our unique gifts, our unique talents, and the unique way he has wired us. And the goal is not to be like everyone else. He's created us, to be you. Number 4, hopes and dreams. What if Jesus doesn't want you to dream for less? What if he wants you to dream for more? What if Jesus has bigger dreams for you than you do? What if he never tries to hold you back, but is trying to pull you towards a bigger, more full, more fulfilling, more joyful life than you have ever imagined? Jesus wants more for us than what is just in front of you. He's not a genie or a vending machine. He's deeper than that. He wants to lead us to more peace, joy, purpose, adventure, and community. More of the good stuff that makes life amazing and in ways we may not expect. I think that's what Jesus was getting to in the passage we looked at today. He doesn't come to steal, kill, or destroy our lives. He came to help us have real life. Think of it this way. Because of Jesus, we can have life to the full. So how does this work? How do you find the more, better, fuller life that Jesus talks about? I think it may be simpler than we think. For some of you, the first step is to say yes to Jesus for the first time ever. Maybe you've always thought that Jesus was angry or boring, or that following him means living a miserable life. Today, I'd like you to consider this question. What if that isn't true? What if there's another view of Jesus based on who he truly is? What if there's a better view of Jesus that could change everything? What would it look like for you to say yes to someone who can change your life for the better? Now, for others of you, maybe you've already said yes to a relationship with Jesus, but you haven't experienced the abundant life that he describes. Maybe for you, it's time to say yes to the things that Jesus says yes to as well. And as his followers, so much of what Jesus commands us benefits us and makes our life better, just as it does to the people around us. There are a million ways to experience this, but let's start with just one. What if this week you just said yes to serving someone? So much research tells us that serving someone can actually make our own lives better and happier. Serving isn't something that a serious, no-fun God would ask us to do. It's something that makes everyone's lives better, including yours. So what's one way that you could help someone else? Identify something this week and try it out. Listen, I get it that people don't always talk about Jesus like this. In fact, sometimes you hear people describe following Jesus like it's all rules and no joy. That's why I wanted you to see Jesus at a different angle today, to discover who he is and why he came to earth. Because when you know who Jesus really is, it changes everything. And because of Jesus, we can have life to the full. And while I believe that's true, you don't have to take my word for it. This week, I want you to talk with your small group leader, the people in your group, about what following Jesus really looks like and how he may be different than people typically imagine. Remember, you matter to us and you matter to Jesus.